Really wish I talked about this movie before the Jonathan Majors news came out. Alright, so back again with one of 3 movies I'm covering tonight just because I need to catch up and I can't wait for anybody anymore. So next on my list is Creed 3, which I saw a couple weeks ago. Talk about it now. Creed 3 obviously is the 3rd movie in the Rocky spin-off series starring Michael B. Jordan. Unlike the last 2, this is the first one without Rocky Balboa as a character, and it's also directed by Michael B. Jordan himself. So this is, at this point, Michael B. Jordan taking full control of this film series and this franchise in conjunction, I guess. So this is really his first attempt to see like what he can do with these characters and this world on its own. And for that measure, it's pretty fucking good. I do have to work back memory a little bit to like remember more about this film because it's been a while. But yeah, like this movie is still pretty rock fucking solid. Michael B. Jordan has a very clear vision of what he wants to do with the character Creed. He does have a very defined arc. The directions he takes with it are, like, while they're definitely predictable, are still entertaining. They're well shot. The boxing scenes, well, I definitely kind of prefer the more guerrilla directing of the previous films, are still entertaining to watch. They're trying something different with it. They do some visual tricks with it, both literally and metaphorically, that kind of mixed results, but I get what they were going for, and I respect the intention behind it. I respect what they were trying to do. And this is where I have addressed the elephant in the room, because Jonathan Majors is obviously the main villain of this movie. He's also fantastic in it, but I do also have to address the fact that he was recently arrested under domestic violence charges. We're still kind of seeing how that pans out. There's a lot we don't know about it. And I guess to just kind of address my opinion on it, if I even have one, it's going to be very straightforward. I don't know enough about it. I'm taking the victim side of it just by default because we should believe women. But that being said, I am definitely taking, I'm definitely taking a step back and seeing how this develops, what's gonna happen. I definitely care more about the people involved in the crime than the fucking movies he's in or what he was originally going to be in, if he's still going to be in them. Who the hell knows? It's not important right now. So, but that being said, just like I talked about Zachary Levi in the last video, I am not going to, I'm not going to say that just because, he did this thing, that means suddenly everything he ever did was bad. I can recognize that his performance in the movie is very good, while also acknowledging that if the charges are true, that he's still a shitty person for it. And if he did, that those charges are true, he should go to prison for it. So with that being said, the plot for Creed 3 basically is Michael B. Jordan, obviously, Creed, in this stage of his career, is looking close to retirement because he's been doing boxing for a while, and obviously he just can't get a shit beat down for the rest of his life. He's at the peak of his career. He's basically undefeated in the ring. But after his last fight with a rematch with the guy he fought in the first movie, he goes in retirement to this lavish, very, very lavish mansion with his daughter, who is deaf, and of course his wife, who is a musician who's working on her own stuff and is mostly publishing now because she is also trying to protect her own hearing. So protecting herself so she doesn't lose her own hearing along the way. While he's in this retirement phase, after some time has passed, he is reintroduced to his childhood best friend, who got arrested and has spent the last several years in prison. I'm gonna look up the character's name because I'm gonna forget what it is. It is not Adonis. That is Michael B. Jordan's character. Damien. So Damien comes back into his life and convinces Creed, to give him a chance in the ring. Because his big dream was he wanted to be a boxer, and he was a really good boxer, but his dream was taken when he was young because of the arrest that, for reasons we don't know, Creed was involved in. But of course, after a bunch of shenanigans happen, Damien quickly rises to the top and has basically stated as intentions that he's been harboring ill intention for like 20 years, and he now has his chance to just basically get his revenge. So inevitably this, and again, this should not be a spoiler, this inevitably ends with a boxing match between the two of them. Who's going to win, how they're going to resolve the conflict, yada yada yada. That's the basic premise. It's a boxing movie. The plots are never ultra deep. It's all about just how you play it. And for how it's played, it's done very well. Like I said, one thing I like about Michael B. Jordan's direction in this film is that he resists the urge to make his character flawless, which I feel like especially since this is a character that he was a big part of his career, and then he very, very clearly cares a lot about it, especially if he took it on all responsibilities of this film. But he's still this is still a very flawed person. This is still just a kid in the foster system who has a lot of trauma and doesn't really know was never really taught how to deal with it, and is now forced to deal with it more in adulthood. And all the success and everything he's earned over the years and all the titles and everything he's earned doesn't change the fact that he doesn't know how to connect on a human level. He only needs to talk about through fighting, and that's coming back to bite him. So all the interpersonal drama, like Tessa Thompson and Michael B. Jordan and whoever the actresses that got played daughter, all play really well together. All their dynamic is great. The cinematography is beautiful. The boxing scenes are a lot of fun to watch, and I don't know what it is about boxing. Boxing in particular is I don't give two fucking shits about sports in general. I just don't care. And I don't even like fighting in real life, because to me, just again, not to sound pretentious, which it totally does, but it just seems barbaric to me, and I don't like watching it in real life. Because it's just these are real people, they're really getting hurt, and I get that it's a job, but it just seems like a really bad idea. But I get the appeal, and I don't judge anyone that likes it. Have a good time. I understand. Just not for me. But that being said, you put boxing into a movie, suddenly I'm like, yeah! Hit him harder! Yeah! Go punchy! Punchy, punch, 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 punch. Suddenly, for some reason, boxing movies are that weird middle ground for me that I was like, that is where the most masculine testosterone energy comes from me, where I go from oh, this is all terribly violent to fuck him up. I don't know. That is one of the few kind of genre of films my dad and I can kind of bond over when I was younger. So I guess there's also kind of a personal stake in that too, even though my relation with my dad now is far from great. That's putting it mildly, but we're not going to get into that right now. I will say the major issue I have with this movie, and again, it's this spoiler-y, but it's the plot of the film, and it's in all the trailers, so I don't think it's really that much of a surprise. And plus, it's been weeks, so you've probably already seen it by now if you're going to see it, is the fact that once Jonathan Majors goes, turn heel, and he reveals himself to be aha, I am the consequence of all your actions, I've come to destroy you, is the fact that we don't actually get to see much of Jonathan Majors as, in full villain mode before we see the final boxing match. It's kind of told to us off screen, which I felt like, and I feel like in an earlier draft, there's probably more of it, or an earlier cut of this film, there's probably a lot more of it, but it's not in the final product, and that's kind of disappointing, because I would have liked to have seen that. So we go from the point where Jonathan Majors build himself up and up and up. He's clearly manipulating Creed. He's using him to get ahead, and he succeeds, and he convinces him to give him this title match. He wins the title match against everyone's expectations, almost killing the person in the process and fighting dirty in the process. And now he's on top. Now he's on in the top. He has the title. He basically has guaranteed to stardom from that point on. He doesn't need Creed anymore. So that's when he feels haha, my evil plan is complete. I am boxing master. Off screen from there, apparently he has a lot more fights that he keeps winning, and he's been shit talking the Creed to the public, who are kind of eating this up and doing all these kind of shady shit behind closed doors. We don't get to see any of that, which is kind of disappointing. We only see the final when Creed challenges him to the fight, and from there it's the traditional training montage you expect with this franchise, which I'm still a sucker for. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about a good training montage that just makes me feel good. Marianne Creed is back in this film as well. She has a great role as well. I don't want to say too much about her without giving way more spoilers, but it was good to see her back, and as clearly the last film she's gonna be in. She has a great little swan song. There was a scene that got me really choked up. I feel like I just gave it away, but oh well. Again, this movie's been out for weeks. You've probably already seen it by now. And all of it works together really, really well in like a very confident, very confident, not just boxing movie, but Rocky movie. And I really have to give respect to Michael B. Jordan for really making this franchise his own. Yeah, like I feel like that, like this truly feels like a legacy sequel, which is exceptionally rare. You just don't see a literal full passing of the torch from one boxing legend, like from one legend to another. And I feel like that's what Michael B. Jordan has done here, and I feel like he really deserves all the credit in the world for that. And not only does he like successfully take the wheel of the franchise from this point forward, but he's still making it good. He's still trying different things from this. Like, I really do think this is a lot better than Creed 2, because Creed 2 I thought I was kind of about. The first Creed I loved. I thought it was a fantastic fucking movie, and I think this movie is a fantastic fucking movie. But that's also because it makes a deliberate point to separate itself from the previous Creed movies. And not just the Creed movies, but the Rocky movies. It doesn't feel like it's hiding behind Sylvester Stallone's shadow anymore. It feels like its own thing. And it's growing at its own thing. And if they want to keep making these movies, like, I'm curious to see what they'll do with it. But that being said, if they decided, like, we're going to finish off with a trilogy and this is it, this is a bold way to end it. I think it really works. I also like the cameos and the villains in the last couple movies, and they have a different dynamic now. Like, at this point, Adonis Creed has to have a bit more political side to him. I like how they explore that angle. He has to be business savvy. He can't just punch his way out of problems anymore, but it, like, still take on his childhood trauma really well. All of it meshes really well. This is really smartly done with the characters in mind and ego second. Which is rare for vanity projects like this. Maybe calling it vanity project is not the right word, but it is Michael B. Jordan's vehicle now, and he's showing a lot of restraint, and I respect that about him. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's doing really well, and I'm excited to see what he takes from here. So Creed 3, excellent film, really loved it. I would go watch that again. And that is it. So I have one more film on the docket, and then I'm going to find the OE dinner. So I'll see you guys in 1 minute. Well, 1 minute since I'm recording, but this is probably about the day after I record this review to get the reviews time to breathe. Anyway, see you in a bit. Bye.